Hey everybody, doing a Warframe video today. Today, Ember got changed, and there's quite a few things that have changed about Ember. Maybe not in such a good way though. So let's look at Ember's stats. Upgrade and empty. Okay, these are Ember's new stats. She has had her base stamina increased to 150, her base armor increased to 100 or 125 for Ember Prime, which I will be using because she is better, just on a general basis based on stats. Her movement speed is slightly faster, and her Fire Blast has had a mechanic added. It does the thing that the Fiery Eximi do, which is that big wall of fire, along with what it did before, which was the small ring of fire around you that sucked. I've done some experimentation with a few builds, and that extra wall of fire is not that great. It doesn't go through walls, so you're not hitting all the enemies that you want to be hitting that will shoot you the moment they get the chance and kill you. And the changes to World on Fire is that it is now a toggle ability with 50 energy cost on cast and 5 energy per second. But it's still affected by duration, so it doesn't fucking matter that this is a toggle ability. If this wasn't affected by duration, Ember would be much better than she is. Right now, Ember sucks. But let's go over the few builds that I was using. First of all, I was using this build. This build focuses on not dying as easily, and also using your powers constantly. So, I have Rage, which converts my health into energy from 700 down to dying. And then I'm using Constitution for duration, Continuity for duration, to offset Fleeting Expertise, which is giving me 60% power efficiency, and Streamline, which is maxing out my power efficiency, which means that my powers cost almost nothing to cast, which is very good, or it should be. I also have 150% extra power, along with this special helmet that is giving more power max for me. And then Quick Thinking, which is basically a oh shit button type deal, where you get shot, and if you would die, you won't, because your energy will stop that from happening at 240% efficiency. It basically makes your power another health pool, which keeps you from dying. And then I have plus 400% more health. And I'm using Rifle Amp because I don't have her 4 mode to Energy Siphon. And while you are channeling your 4, Energy Siphon does not work anyway, and the goal would be to have your 4 always be on. So, that's one build I was using, and the other build, which I'm going to build right now, this is basically the build I was using. The intent of this build was to give myself a lot of range while still being able to cast my abilities all the time and have them last a long time. So, my abilities with this build will last about 50%, roughly, longer, because this is minus 60, plus 81, plus 28, roughly 50% longer, and I have a plus 90% range boost, which is almost completely offset by Blind Rage and Intensify, which those come to 57. This is minus 60, but I'm going to have 3% less damage, which doesn't add up to very much. So, this is the build that I used to try and cover the most ground for maybe if I had some crowd control potential, say. And I was using Energy Siphon for this build because that's the obvious choice that I went with originally. Now, I'm going to do a couple of runs, and this video is probably going to be quite long. The first run, I'm going to do with this build. The second run, I'm going to do with this build. And then I'm going to do 2 separate runs. One of them is going to be with a frame that I consider mid-range, which is Volt, who is a little bit good at everything. And the other run I'm going to do is going to be with Mesa, who I am going to consider as the best all-rounder in the game. That's my opinion. A lot of people would argue Rhino, and I think he is a very, very close runner-up, and that you could argue both ways. But I'm going to play Mesa, because that is my view on that. So, first comes the run with this build, and I will show the build for Volt and for Mesa, and the mission we're going to be doing is going to be, we're going to do Vedic. This is a level 31 to 33 Grineer Extermination. Any frame that's worth its weight in salt should be able to kill some Grineer by themselves. Now, I'm not going in here just with Ember with nothing. I'm using a Soma and a Typido, and I'm leveling a secondary. This is going to be a rough amalgamation of things that you would see quite often, where someone's using one good weapon, a melee weapon that's kind of random, and then they're leveling something. Or you're using a secondary that's really good and you're leveling a primary, maybe. I think that is a fair thing to do, because that is what I do 90% of the time I am playing. If I wanted my guns to carry me, I would carry... I would carry different weapons. I'd carry the Vacor Merlock and the Amprex, or some other combination of very, very good weaponry that can carry any frame. But I think it is fair to do this, and just run Vedic, and just try and kill all of these Grineer, because it shouldn't be that hard. Okay. Starting off, pretty normal. The movement speed buff to Ember is quite nice, I will say. Having her be faster is, I suppose, a bonus. Get this long intro on this mission. And all of her abilities are at max efficiency, so they're all very, very cheap. And I'm increasing her mobility by giving her this nice melee weapon that has good dashing capabilities. Now, this level has some tough enemies. I don't have hardly any energy right now, so for the beginning of this, I'll be very careful. That doesn't consistently knock down enemies, as you can see. Didn't knock down any of those enemies, so that's great. That thing that the Arsons are quite good at doesn't do that. Not even a little bit. Her 4. Let's try that. Those enemies aren't close enough to me. Oh, that one got close, and it did some decent damage. But this ability's over in 2 seconds. Gotta be very careful around bombards. Now, I have to leave my little safe place. From hiding behind this wall for the majority of that confrontation, I've lost a ton of health, an unacceptable amount of health. I have no defensive abilities on this character. Oh, they're back. Yes, this character has no defensive abilities whatsoever. This is a stun. They have to be close to me. They're already shooting and killing me from there. And I don't have a defensive ability like I used to. Ember used to have a good defensive ability that would allow her to get close to enemies. It was quite nice. Let's say I activate my 4. Oh, I was shot. I lost 100 health. And that's after my shields were blown off and then replaced by my sentinel, of course. I will say at least her 1 lights people on fire consistently, which is some alright crowd control. I wouldn't say it's fantastic. That time it knocked that guy down, because it's completely inconsistent. I think it has something to do with line of sight, which is unacceptable for a frame that is as squishy as this. Now let's see. Cool, I almost died, but I knocked him back a little. Her one, like most ones, does not do very much damage, so that's good that that's consistent, I suppose. Oh, poked my head around the corner, and now I'm at 55 health. Casting speed on that, still not fast enough. Range, not large enough. And my ability's almost over. I don't know why they changed this to a toggle ability and like a channeling toggle ability if its duration is still going to be piss poor and basically non-existent. See that growing wall of fire? That didn't do anything to these enemies. Nothing. They're unaffected. They don't care. They don't have to care. It doesn't, like, do anything to them. That ability needs to go through walls, just like the arson ability. You can be hit by anywhere, from anywhere, by that arson ability. And it's quite nice when they use it. If that was a consistent knockdown, this might be a viable build to just do some of this. That might be reasonable. You have some good knockdown potential and you could crowd control an area. As it is, not helpful. This ability, its range is far too short, at least on this build. We'll see what happens on the other build. 4. Its range is so short. Like, its range is 5 feet from me and this thing lasts 10 seconds. Like, it's just not... It's not affecting the bad situation that Ember is supposed to be able to get herself into. I will say, at least the one isn't as bad as it could be. It does light them on fire, which is a bonus, I guess. I don't know where that guy just went. I don't think I've ever seen this tile before. Oh. That's a rocket. That is a really awkward tile. Oh, well, that would have killed me if I wasn't using that mod. Which took a huge chunk out of my energy. Great. Oh, well. Almost killed me once again. And I'm dead. That sniper, no matter... There was almost nothing I could have done there that could have saved me. So, that's fantastic. I have no defensive abilities. I have no way to heal. If I could have knocked her down around the corner, maybe? There you go. That's a way to get out of that situation. Those snipers do a lot of damage. That's what they're for. And if you don't have a defensive ability, they're going to kill you. I would have died in one shot if I didn't have my energy as also my health. Alright, let's try and do another run. With this build. Alright, decent amount of energy, more than before. Still not enough range for that. Now this has sort of enough range. Not as much as it really needs, but I can hit enemies that are in the hallway in front of me. That's a bonus. They still don't care. That guy's on fire and doesn't care. Dead. Doesn't take these enemies long to kill me. Takes them almost no time at all. Glad I got that base armor increase. I'm sure that's really helping. I'm sure that 125 armor is enough for me to be a close range caster frame. Like, these buffs, they don't matter. But to illustrate why they don't matter, let's do a frame that's actually good. Like Volt, perhaps. Okay. Here's my Volt build. Not really that special. Using the same flow, quick thinking combination that I was using on my Ember build. That's pretty common for a caster type frame. And then I'm using some duration, and I'm efficient. And some more duration, a little bit of range to counteract the narrow-minded. Nothing too special here. I'm only using 2 corrupted cards, the most common ones at that. And these are cards that, aside from Overextended, I was also using in Ember. These builds are pretty equivalent. They're not much different. But let's see how this goes for Volt. Also, part of the reason that I chose Volt for this is that Volt is a starter frame. You can start as Volt. You can just be Volt from the very beginning. Now here's the main difference with Volt. I can hit 3. I have 37 seconds of this shield that I can shoot through that gives me a damage boost. That's real good. And I can cast more than one of them. Even better. I have a nice defensive thing that they can't just instantly kill me from, which enemies that are high level are quite famous for. It comes up quickly, at almost no detriment. Oh, did not see that little one. But I have a defensive wall here, so that's fine. And aside from that, Volt also has a nice little utility of being able to go fast. So not only does he have a defensive ability, he's also faster than Ember. And what's that? Oh yeah, his ability also hits groups of enemies and is, like, pretty strong. Grineer are resistant against electricity, so... or more resistant against electricity, but I'm going to get roughly the same amount of stun regardless, with much less accuracy required on my part. And as an ult, I can just go out and hit everyone and stun everybody, and then just move right in. And my shield comes up real quick. And this is just a nice little jaunt through this mission. I shouldn't have like nearly any troubles at all. Oh, would have instant killed me. But playing tactically against these strong enemies is just fine. Look at this. Just create your own cover, and it's giving me a damage boost. Whoa. That's fun. Okay. Don't see anyone over here. Volt is a nice, well-rounded frame with roughly equal attacking, defensive, and utility type abilities. Getting from place to place is pretty simple. And with a build like this, it is fair to say that it is much easier to defend yourself, which it is, which is the point of this build. but I don't think this build is too crazy. And because of the damage boost of the shield, it's very effective. Oop, wrong way. Down here is where it's supposed to go. Someone's not great at getting through these shields. There we go. Oh, prosecutors. Didn't see any of those as Ember. What type is it? Fire? That should be okay. Nope, none of that, thanks. Oh, fighting a napalm. Gonna have to back up just a little bit because my shield, like explosives do go through it still. And because my shield has a respectable duration, using duration mods to increase how long it lasts is actually effective. Unlike, for example, World on Fire. Now, this I know that this looks like it's incredibly effective because it is. But Volt is what I would consider like a mid-range... I can't do this while talking. Like a mid-range, like, quality frame. And I think that... Not close enough. I expected them to come to me. Nope. Nope. Come on. Nope. And I think that Mesa is obviously better. So, I'm going to just run through the rest of this mission. If anything exciting happens, I'll go there. And you guys can watch. I'm going to not do so much commentary, just work my way right through the mission real quick like. And then we'll move on to Mesa, who will get this mission done faster than you can even imagine.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching.
Hey, rare mod. Oh shit. Napalms, they'll get you. Undying Will. Huh, haven't seen one of those in a while. Gotta be careful around napalms. But that's part of playing as a character that has shields. Or physical shields, rather. Shit. There we go. That's quite a bit more difficult than my previous encounters. Oh, that's a bomb on me. I'm running out of ammo.
Stay focused. There's a heavy crew approaching.
There we go. That's no good. Oh, shield went down. There we go. Has more ammo than anything else. Oh well. Sometimes you gotta use an ammo pack. Jeez, I must have wasted so many rounds. Alright, that should be fine. Am I just not picking things up, or what? Fuck. And that's the panic button that is power efficient, or the power thing. I don't remember what it's called. These enemies are still very strong. Yeah, by no means am I saying that these enemies are piss poor in any way. They're some of the stronger enemies in the game. Grineer are the strongest faction, factually. Alright, let's grab some ammo. There we go. Also, I'd like to get an FOV like this, just as like a normal basis. I really like it whenever it's zoomed out far like that. Yep, there they are. Oh, you bastard. You're running from me.
Let's override the security.
I'm actually running low on energy. That's fine. That should be fine. I'll use a cipher.
Breach complete. We're free to proceed.
Yeah. Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, but those Ember changes aren't enough for her. Oh, it's not this way. It's down over that way. Ooh. Hey, 50 energy. That's just what I needed. Do their shields have a base time? This probably just as effective at taking the shield down. Even though this doesn't have any mods in it. There we go. Much better.
Heads up. A guerrilla assault team is on the way.
Oh, nice. Fantastic. Okay. They used a lot of ammo. Those guys really take it out of you, huh? There we go. Getting close to the end here. There she is. Yep, expected about as much. There we go. Alright. Took longer than I probably should have. But the main difference here is that Volt has a defensive ability and a good AoE skill that goes off and does a big stun. Granted, these enemies are resistant to it, unlike the Corpus. And he's got a one that is... Oop, that's his two. A one that is about as good but hits multiple enemies. They're roughly equivalent. The main thing here is this shield. It gives him utility, a damage bonus, plus it's a shield. It's a defensive thing that he can set up. And it's really nice. Now, that was Volt. He's mid-range. He's a basic Warframe. You can choose him, Excalibur. Excalibur not so much. Volt has a nice defensive skill, a good kit all around. Now let's look at something like something broken. Not broken, but really good. Let's look at a frame with a very, very strong defensive and offensive skill. Alright, I'm going to be using Mesa. I've used Mesa quite a bit. She's very, very, very good. This is a basic enough little build for her. Uses Energy Siphon, not even Formud. Narrow-minded, fleeting, streamline, intensify, continuity, constitution for some more duration. And then vigor because, I don't know, I couldn't choose between shields or health, so I chose both at a mediocre level. This build is not optimized. I'm not even using a fourth mod. But I would argue Mesa is one of the best frames in the game for a multitude of reasons. And we're about to see why that is. Because she can kind of just do whatever the fuck she wants. Okay. Alright. Mesa is on a next level type of deal. Because of her 3. It's a very good defensive ability. And she has strong attacking abilities as well. And once I run into some enemies, I'll activate her 3. That's a pretty big group of enemies. There we go.
Warning, heavy Grineer approaching.
This is a really awkward hallway. Right off the... Whoa. That was fortunate. Yeah. Mesa requires a little bit more meter management, I'll say. Because you gotta make sure that your shield isn't going down. Because if it does, then you become crazy squishy. But as I have her right now, she has a 95% damage reduction. Which is, as you might imagine, pretty good. Makes her squishiness not as evident. And allows her to just kind of run around and do pretty much whatever she wants. Against Grineer, they are more dangerous because of slash procs. So you gotta make sure you don't get shot very much still. But it's essentially like having Volt's shield just on you always. Essentially. That's a lot of dudes. Actually, since I'm soloing, this is a nice little buff just for me. There we go. Whoa. There's those slash procs. I don't want those. I've actually considered looking into getting the status duration down things leveled up and seeing how those work with her, just because that tends to be the thing that messes you over, is those slash procs. I seem to be doing alright though. Not if I had not gotten that shield back on though.
The bypass is done.
Okay. Oop. That is a Grineer head. Here we go. It's been a long time since I entered this room from this direction. Yeah. That was like... Those Grineer were actually posted up in like a smart way. Oh, this is this room. Oh! I didn't... Oh! Okay. I'd never entered the room from that direction. I always come in this door. Which is a closet now. Okay. Okay. Now I understand why I felt like I hadn't seen this room before. Because I don't go this way, like, ever. This is a weird way for this to spawn. Hey, 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 hey. No locking the doors. A lot of special units this time. Yeah, Mesa can kind of just fucking kill everything, essentially. Granted, I am being more careful, as normally when I play Mesa, I run with a healer, which I could be very risky if I were to do that. Oh shit. Speaking of very risky. Okay. Hellions, still crazy dangerous. Note to self. Yeah, ow. I'm pretty sure pretty much any other frame would have died from that. That was, not bueno. I let myself just get railed with that, huh?
I am picking up traces of prosecutor shield auras in the vicinity.
Oh boy. What do you... Ice Prosecutor. Ice Prosecutor, why? Die. Asshole. Yeah. Did I fight any... Wait, did I fight any Prosecutors before? I don't remember. And put this back on. Wow, I feel like I keep just like misremembering this tile set completely. Like, I am totally spacing on this whole area. Put this back on. Oh. Oh, there's those slash procs again. Those might end up killing me, actually. Oh well. I'll have to be more careful. Eh, well, at the rate I'm going, they won't kill me. Wait, this room again? That's crazy nuts. Oh, shit. Holy shit. A lot of dudes. Born to roll into those abilities. They're quite good. Use a Cypher or whatever. I was using Invisible, so... Ain't nobody got time for that shit. Having a nice little room clearing ability is not bad either. It's a little bit less / more effective than Volts, depending on the enemy type you're fighting. Trade-off. Oh, energy leech XMI. Hope they didn't take too much. Oh, speaking of taking too much. There we go. There we go. Yeah, taking it a little bit slower, just no healer. But nonetheless, this is much easier. Whoa, 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 don't 360 no-scope me. Oh wait, she can't 360 no-scope me. I have a shield. Alright, shield's back on. Jesus, another prosecutor? Are you kidding me? Oh, that one knocked me down, but it bounced right off, so that's fine. Oh, I think I actually got all the way over there. Ooh, boom. Fuck you. This is about to run out, so let's get a little bit farther away. There we go. Yeah. Having those bombard rockets just bounce right off for the most part. Quite good. Alright, all targets eliminated. Much easier. Rockets aren't even a problem as Mesa, unlike for Volt. Although Volt has just a little bit of playing around them to do, and I suppose you sort of have to do the same thing as Mesa to make sure they don't bounce into the floor in front of you. But, on the whole, I hope it's easy to see that the difference between Ember and Volt and Mesa is a lot. Whereas Volt has a really like balanced, equal kit with things that are either more situationally useful or more utility based, like his speed up. He has a shield that gives him like also a utility of a damage boost, which is really nice. It's a good skill that keeps him alive, which is really important. And then his 4 is decent. Electrical damage is not so good against Grenier, which is a downside, I will say. His 1 is a partial stun, and it hits multiple enemies, though, so there's that. Whereas Ember, her 1 is a stun, doesn't do that crazy amount of damage that you would want. Her 2, it's a stun, but it doesn't stun for very long, and it's not enough. And its initial range isn't big enough for it to be very good. Her 3, even as it is now, it's not a consistent knockdown. It doesn't go through walls. It's not as good as the Arson 1 that does go through walls and knocks everyone on their goddamn ass unless you roll into it. But if I start seeing Grenier roll into that ability, I'll be damn impressed with the AI design in this game. And finally, her 4. Her 4 could be good with 1 tweak. Its range isn't enough, in my opinion, for how it is now. Its damage isn't enough for how it is now, in my opinion. And the main thing that's holding it back that would make those other things not that big a deal is that her 4 is duration based still. It lasts 10 seconds and it's toggleable. It's not enough. You've got to just cut the duration, make it cost 50, and then 5 energy per more seconds. Because otherwise, it's still just as shitty as it was before. But like its middling damage and middling range would be fine if you could just channel into it once and it was just happening. That plus a defensive ability for Ember would make her really good. Or to make if you made the firewall more consistent, that would be good enough. I would say that Ember would be very viable at that point. Making her firewall consistent and removing the duration on her world on fire would make her good and playable. But as she is now, comparing her to a middling tier frame like Volt, who has a rounded good kit, and comparing her to a high tier frame like Mesa, whose entire kit is good, she doesn't stack up to the competition of most other frames in the game. And it's not that I don't like Ember. I think her look, her theme, fire, those are great. Ember used to be fantastic when she had a defensive ability, but now she doesn't. She needs one back. And I understand that her overheat, or whatever it was called, I think it was overheat, hope I'm correct on that, was really crazy overpowered to a degree. But she needs something to not die. And an overheat could do that. And I don't know why overheat was considered so crazy ridiculous before, but it's not that crazy ridiculous now. Enemies have gotten stronger, and they're only going to continue to do so. So that's my views on the Ember changes. I like the changes, but they're not enough to make Ember as good as she needs to be, because she needs to have a lot done to her. And to be clear, finishing off here, I'm not saying that you can't play Ember. Obviously, if you want to play Ember, you can play Ember and you'll probably find a way to have a successful time. I just want Ember to stack up to the other frames. That's what I really want.